What's up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Classic Chronicles. I hope everybody enjoyed their weekend and is ready to conquer the week that is. And to start off this week, we're gonna start with some very solemn talk on the vlog. This is not a trailer review. This is not a video game review. This is not me telling. This is not me telling a life story. Well, it kind of sort of is, but no, this vlog is on me, and the next couple of vlogs, the next two are going to be on me because we've had some very significant deaths that went down this past week. Malcolm Jamal Warner, who's known for playing Theo on the Cosby Show, and he had his own show with Eddie Griffin, Malcolm and Eddie, among a whole host of other films and TV shows, and then of course who I'm going to talk about tomorrow, the immortal Hulk Hogan, and then today, um, Ozzy Osbourne, man. Three legendary figures in the world of film and television and music, film, tele, film and television, and in Ozzy's case, music. I mean, I guess you could say the same thing for Hulk Hogan too, but we'll get more into that tomorrow. But three legends lost this week, and so today, like I said, I just want to talk about Ozzy Osbourne, man. I did not grow up listening to rock and metal and alternative. That kind of like I grew up listening to hip hop and R&B because that's what my dad listened to. That's what my brothers listened to. So that's what I grew up listening to. When I, but around like 1996, 96, 97, I started to get into rock, alternative, and metal because of my very good friend Kim, named Kimberly, and she was our neighbor and grew up like 10 minutes from us. So always at the house. Our families know each other. Shout out to her. So she introduced me to that world, and one of the first artists that she introduced me to was Black Sabbath, which is Ozzy Osbourne's band, and I she said, "Hey, listen to Black Sabbath," and I'm like, "Who the hell are Black Sabbath?" And she's like, "Oh no, that's fronted by Ozzy Osbourne. He's known for biting the heads off bats and stuff like that during his shows." And I'm like, oh my god! And they so the first song I remember her playing was Iron Man, and I'm like, yo, this sounds really cool, and it kind of describes me in a way, because he's and during the song Iron Man, he's talking about a man who a man who can barely do everyday things like walk and walk or see or stuff like that, and like, man, that kind of describes me, except for the not being able to see part. And I'm like, man, this sounds really cool. I was digging the the riffs, and the lyrics, and from then on I was pretty much hooked. And every time that she would come over, like, she would introduce me to a new band, and that's where my love my love of metal and rock and alternative music grew. And so yeah, man. But Ozzy Osbourne, man, so many other great hits in addition to Iron Man. You had also Paranoid, War Pigs, um, Mama, I'm Coming Home, Crazy Train. Just the list goes on and on and on of like influential songs and hits that Ozzy has put out over his legendary career. More recently, Under the Graveyard, and Ordinary Man, which is a duet with Elton John. Oh man, those are two of my personal favorites, along with I Don't Want to Stop. which came out in like 2007 and was performed on WWE television um, during that time. So man, little known fact, I actually and I was thinking about this the other day when I was watching footage of some footage from Ozzy Osbourne's performance on WWE TV. He performed "I Don't Want to Stop" on SmackDown on a 2007 episode of SmackDown, and I was thinking about it, and back around that time, I didn't know this, and somebody had pointed it out, but I didn't know. I was like, somebody had, I mean, Ozzy's, uh, Ozzy's like lead guitarist, not the guitarist from Black Sabbath, but but when he was doing his solo stuff, he employed people to like play the instruments behind him as he's performing. So his guitarist actually came in to the strip club that I used to frequent, and he was a nice guy, real tall guy, real long hair, tattoos, typical metal rock band guy, but really cool, man. We chatted for a while, and then he's like, yeah, I play with Ozzy Osbourne, and I was telling him, give me some stories, and he did, none of which I can share here, because yeah. Anyway, but no, that was a really cool night. But anyway, man, Ozzy Osbourne, probably one of the most influential figures in the history of not just rock and metal, but music in general. Um, so, man, this is hard because I like so many others. Saw his final performance of at the Back to the Beginning festival in his hometown of Birmingham, England, like 3 weeks before he died, and then when you watch that footage, who would have thought that just 3 weeks after, maybe 2.5 3 weeks after that, after those final performances, that he would pass. And you know that nobody's gonna live forever, but it seemed like Ozzy, because of all the stuff that he's been through, and you would think that, man, that would take an ordinary man out, like like there would be no way that an ordinary man would be able to live uh, through all of the stuff that Ozzy's been through, all of the ups, all the downs, and the drug use, the alcohol use, all the stuff that he's done. And he somehow survived, and gave us one last performance, and the last song that he performed was "Mama, I'm Coming Home," which is kind of like an omen, man. And it's like you look at that now, it's already a powerful song in its own right, but when you weigh the gravity of the circumstances of him being gone now and the song itself, it just takes on a whole new meaning. It's really powerful. Man, and like I said, his career in reality TV, the Osbournes, the show where he had with his family, and on MTV, back in like the mid 2000s as well. Kind of revitalized his career, and made people view him in a whole different light. So that was pretty cool to watch, and that's where I became an even more fan of him, even more of a fan of him, I should say, because of that show. And my mom was a huge fan of the show. She didn't necessarily like Ozzy's music, but she was a huge fan of the show. So yeah. Man, Ozzy Osbourne, legend. He will be sorely missed, and man, I hate when I have to do episodes like these, because I know that we all gotta go sometime, but this is hard, and yeah, Ozzy, you will be truly missed. You are a legend, sir, and I will never forget you, and your music will live on forever and ever, and continue to pump through my headphones as loud as I can possibly get it for the rest of my time on this earth. Anyway, that is going to do it for this episode of the Classic Chronicles. Like, subscribe, share. Don't forget to hit that notification button so you don't miss a video. And I, of course, will see you guys on the next one. Peace.